Now, welcome to another Visions Volume 2 review. This time it's Journey to the Dark Head.
This one comes to us from Studio Mir from South Korea. It starts off with the tribe of seers who can read when the rain falls on the statues and then it hits these special rocks. They see records and they see images and then record records of the past or visions of the future.
And our main character sees a vision of the future.
Yes, Ara.
Yes.
She
Whose
sees a
name
vision
gets mentioned once.
at the very end. She wants to change things because of the fact that she doesn't appreciate that here we are keeping records of these things that haven't happened, and we're not trying to help the good side win.
Yeah, we're seeing the future, and we could use that to our advantage. The good people, I mean.
But it's
you could also use it to your advantage the other way,
It's interesting
I suppose.
because as you watch, throughout this episode, just because you know the future doesn't mean you can change the future. It's
in fact,
interesting.
sometimes that self-fulfilling prophecy, when you know the future and you try to change it, is when you fulfill it.
Exactly. Just like
Which is kind of what happens in this episode, in a manner of speaking.
Cutting off the heads wasn't ever going to make a difference.
No, of course not.
It was very interesting that they kind of are showing you that knowing the future, knowing them, doesn't always change things.
No, like I said, sometimes it leads you right to it, which is the case here. She sees the image of three people, and she's one of them. And if it wasn't for wanting to change the future, and because she sees it, she would have never been there.
Well, even seeing that vision didn't tell her what was going to happen.
No.
What difference does that make whether she told the Jedi Council that or not? I saw a vision of some people fighting, and there was a third figure. It doesn't help.
No. Somebody was watching. Well, okay.
Okay.
Creeper.
Yes. But she wants to change things, and she's dead set on it. And it's interesting because when she asks the Council about changing it, the one thing that the Jedi Master who agreed to let her go asked her that if she thought that by breaking the mirror, can you really alter what the mirror reflects?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Well, yeah, I mean, just because you don't look into the mirror doesn't mean the reflection would have changed, right?
No, I mean, if I'm staring into a mirror and I break the mirror, that doesn't make my physical
same.
self immediately change.
No.
It just means that I can't see it anymore.
Exactly.
So it's interesting because we all know the real reason she was sent there, the real reason that she decided to accept that mission was because she was sending Toll.
Yeah, who needed it.
Yes, he did.
Says in the end, yeah.
I mean, we got to see Toll's tragic backstory. He watched so many of his brethren die. His master fell before him, and it brought out the worst in him.
Anger. Or fear.
Fear,
Which
yes.
leads to anger, and anger leads to hate, and we know how that goes.
Yes, he was attacked by the Sith Bichan, which kind of sounds like bitchin', but...
Because we watched it the second time with the subtitles on, and every time I saw it, I was like, bitchin'. Darth bitchin'. Oh.
But if you wanted to fit this into canon, what's interesting is this one fits really nicely into... I know it's not canon, but KOTOR. It would fit into KOTOR really, really well.
Old Republic period.
But yes, in the canon-wise, it fits into KOTOR.
Old Republic, yes.
I'm just saying, this is the one that I could see most likely as to fit in there. You had Sith cults and...
Yeah, it's such a wide-open time period where we know Sith and Jedi were having their
the wars.
Problems. Yeah.
It was interesting that the elder from Ara's clan even said that wars are inevitable. They will just keep going on. Even when this conflict ends, another will just arise.
That was one of the best things said in the sequels, was Maz Kanata's little speech about how it just never ends.
But back to Toll, I mean, it's so sad watching him struggle. You can see it when he, in the flashback, the pain that he went through, and the Sith Bichan just keeping him alive because he's like, aha, you're going to be my apprentice. And, he was like, turned him into a sport.
Yeah. That's kind of a Sith thing to do.
Yeah.
You sense that fear, you sense that anger, you let it go out there and manifest further until they're ready to be trained. Maul kind of did that with Ezra, if you'll remember. Kept calling him apprentice.
Yeah. I like the relationship between Toll and Ara at the beginning because it's really like neither one of them thinks they need the other one.
Well, by the end they will. I mean, that's how it always works.
But it was a nice, fun little dynamic that they threw in there. Good.
Any story that starts with two people thinking they don't need the other ends with them walking together, needing each other.
I know. But it was cool because they went to that merchant shop, picking up gloves she wouldn't need and totally needed.
Yes. And a parachute, I think, too.
That little cult-looking group that walked past, and that's when they seemed to sense each other. Master and apprentice.
Possible apprentice?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to apprentice to Darth Bitchin, though?
Bichan.
I mean, if you're ever going to sway me, you're like, hi, I'm Darth Bitchin. I'd like you to join. Well, what does that mean? Like, what do we get to do? Oh, we do some bitchin' things.
Well, and then he, follows him back to the temple, and he plays with him. It's cat and mouse. He sits there and he talks to him as if him becoming, as if Tall falling to the dark side is inevitable. There's no way around it. The way he speaks is entirely inevitable.
Well, that's Sith deals in absolutes.
But
and they're never wrong.
He knew by speaking that way, though, he riled Tall up even more, made him more angry, made him more afraid, made him more desperate, brought him closer and closer to what he wanted.
Not unlike what Palpatine did to poor Luke.
Mm-hmm.
It's unavoidable. It is your destiny.
And then we get to see the prophecy heads and learn that they're connected, that they've always been connected. The light and the dark were intermingling, which was mirroring, of course, the battle that was going on in front of us with the emotions inside Tall.
Yeah, he was having his own fight, too.
Yes, he was struggling with his own fear and darkness. The music during the Jedi-Sith fight, I liked it. It was very Korean folk music. I liked it a lot. I thought it was different, because it wasn't just standard music. A lot of interesting instruments and dynamics they played around with there.
No, it was good. Music was good.
Yeah.
Solid.
Meanwhile, girl, Ara, goes off, plants her bombs, only to find out it's not how it's going to work. And she kind of ends up seeing that what she's doing is futile in a way. She finds out that her vision was true and that it came to pass no matter what she did, that it was hers. And then they kill Darth Bitchin. He manages to overcome Bichan thanks to her help, distracting him with the bombs, and then she saves him. Very nice.
It was.
They floated down into the prophetic rocks. For her to come out more of a skeptic, saying that, her master was right. War is always going to happen over and over and over again. There's nothing you can do to change it. And he came out of it hopeful.
Talking about how, there's cycles. When there's despair, there's also hope.
Right, and he found his light again.
Yeah.
It was nice. I liked the music at the end, too. It was also pretty nice. I liked the overall look of this one a lot.
No, I think this might be... I mean, I like some of the more stylistic stuff, too. Don't get me wrong, but this... it looks like an anime, right?
Right.
It's like a good anime,
it's
too.
It's so good with the fluidity.
Yeah.
The way that they kind of move the camera angle, quote-unquote, camera angles around
yes.
during fights. It just looks fluid, which is what I like. It doesn't have any of that clunky nature that could slow down a fight, and it brings it up an artistic level for me.
This is the reason why people always are pining for an anime, a Star Wars anime, because of how cool it can look in this in this style.
It's got a type of poetry to the movements.
It rhymes?
Sure. But this is one I definitely want to know more of the story.
Well, it ended with them
kind of walking
together off into the proverbial sunset.
To continue to try and fight the war together.
Yeah.
I mean, and it showed us that these prophecies, you shouldn't take stock in something like this. You have to create your own future. If you're the one driving your own future, what is the mirrors reflecting what you are doing?
I mean, it's showing you that there's darkness and light within you, and it's up to you to pick which one you follow, in a sense. Nothing is kind of... It's kind of odd because in a way it tries to tell you that nothing is set in stone yet, and in a way it was set in stone because she ended up there anyway, but you still have the choice, right?
Not to mention the images were set in stone.
I do like that little, yes. But no, I thought this was maybe the best episode, just all around. Touched on a lot of Star Wars-y themes. I don't know if it nails them entirely, but it's supposed to be stylistic, right? That's
obviously, yeah.
Why we're here, your own interpretation of Star Wars. So I'm not going to get into anything that I would say, oh, that doesn't work with the canon. No, I thought it was really good. I thought it gives you a lot to think about in many different ways. Kind of a multi-layered approach here.
Right.
And as we discussed, I thought it looked really, really good. Again, not stylistic, just really good anime, which I can certainly appreciate. Music was solid. Everything was solid. Really good episode. And it leaves you wanting more. And, you get 20 minutes and you suddenly care about these characters enough to be like, well, I really wouldn't mind to see the next episode of this.
Absolutely.
And that's when you know you've succeeded.
Then you find out it takes place in the same universe as the Ninth Jedi, and there'll be a crossover someday.
But the Ninth Jedi is the future. Or, hey, for all we know, this could be sometime after, Rey's Jedi Order and stuff.
It could be.
Maybe.
Or maybe the Ninth Jedi takes place during the Sith Wars.
Maybe Rey is going to train Darth Bitchin. So.
Or the Ninth Jedi was made during Old Republic. Maybe the Sith were winning at that point.
It could be too.
Who knows?
I kind of think that's more the future, but I guess
I kind of think you're the past. So.
Well, whatever. On that note, that's going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you thought of Journey to the Dark Head. Did you enjoy this one? Did you not enjoy this one? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.